What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today marks a very special day here on Drew Reviews. It is the 1 year anniversary of Drew Reviews on YouTube. And man, it's been a wild ride this first year. About 6 months through, I didn't know if I was going to make it. But the channel kind of took off. But today is going to be a special review for you guys because it's one of the best action movies of the 80s that I'm going to talk about. It is Lethal Weapon, the original with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, and we're going to discuss it next on Drew Reviews. So guys, to me, the original Lethal Weapon is one of the seminal action movies of the 1980s. Of course, it was written by Shane Black, who played Hawkins in Predator. Went on to write a lot of great Hollywood movies. They had to actually tone this movie down from the original script. But of course, Danny Glover plays Sergeant Murtaugh. In the opening scene, one of his old friends that he was in the military with, his daughter, dives out of this building, commits suicide. And so this movie is basically him trying to unravel that. And of course, he gets a new partner played by Mel Gibson, who comes in. Everybody thinks he's suicidal. Everybody thinks he wants that crazy pension. Is he really crazy, or is he just trying to get money out of the department for this? It's pretty funny. But this movie is basically them unraveling what happened to Hunsaker's daughter. And Hunsaker, of course, played by the great Tom Atkins from Halloween 3 and The Fog and Night of the Creeps. Great movies. Be sure and check out all those. But as they unravel the mystery, they find out that he's in deep with this shadow company, which also includes Mr. Joshua, played by the great Gary Busey, and this McAllister. I'll call him the General probably from now on because I'll forget his name. But they basically are dealing heroin. And the rest of the movie is just Murtaugh and Riggs taking them out, especially after they kidnap Murtaugh's daughter and make it personal. And that's pretty much the basic plot of Lethal Weapon. So I can tell you right away what I like about this movie. You know, like I said, it's a seminal action movie. But the action is actually secondary to the character development in this movie. You know, you've got Murtaugh, and he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's procedural and by the book, but he's way more by the book than Riggs, who comes in. And this character was just made for Mel Gibson. You know, he comes in, and is he crazy or is he not? You see him in that opening scene, you know, with the cocaine. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And I actually say that a lot in real life. And I just like how that character, it builds. Is he crazy or is he not? There's the scene on the roof where they got the jumper, you know, and he cuffs him and they jumps off the roof with him. There's a great scene, some great character development there, you know, where he's at his beachside trailer and he's got the gun. Of course, Riggs' character, he's lost his wife 3 years prior and he's still coping, you know, with that. And he takes the gun and cocks it back, and just about pulls the trigger. And that's just a really powerful scene. You know, you feel so much loss for that character there and what he's going through. And I like the relationship between Murtaugh and Riggs. Murtaugh's the family man. You know, he's getting close to retirement. He's too old for this, you know. And so he brings Riggs home, and so he's kind of, you know, a surrogate member of this family. But I really like that. It plays up the human element in this story. And, you know, you really grow to appreciate these characters, especially when you see like the subhuman bad guys in this movie, like Gary Busey, Mr. Joshua, you know, where the general tells him to take out his arm. They got Edo Ross in that scene. He burns him with a cigarette lighter. You know, he never makes a sound while he's burning him. You know, that's great. It really sets up these guys to be really bad. And speaking of really bad, I really appreciate that scene in this movie where Hunsaker comes clean to Murtaugh. They're out there at that point at his daughter's funeral, and so that helicopter comes in, and that's just a beautiful shot there. I'd like to actually visit that location out in California if I ever get the chance to. But I like the scene when they gun them down here. I like the beauty of that scene. And in that scene where the bad guys still Rian, and they have to go in the desert after him, and of course Mel Gibson has that sniper rifle. That whole last act of this movie is just really good, you know, where, you know, they've got Murtaugh tied up, and they're torturing him. They've got Mel Gibson, you know, strung up, and, you know, they're using the electroshock on him, how he gets out of that. Just some great stuff there. And then there at the end where they have that last fight, you know, after they've gone through the streets and blown up McAllister, they have that fight in Murtaugh's yard. And I love that, how it's down to the two of them, man to man, and nobody else steps in. So that was really good. And I like that last shot, how he ends up getting that guy's gun and they both end up shooting him like at the same time. Just some really good stuff. They're truly partners to the end. In my opinion, there's really no bad scenes in this movie. I guess some people could get on to the child actors there in that scene, or they're gonna bust Dixie, that whole thing. But it wasn't acted terribly. And a lot of people say the saxophone in this movie is over the top, but I appreciate it. It actually fits a lot of the scenes, where Murtaugh's, staring off in the distance, and so the saxophone's playing because he's thinking he's too old. Some great guitar playing there by Eric Clapton. Overall, I'd rate this movie an 8.4 out of 10. I think it's right at an 8.5. I have a lot of fun with it. And this is one of those movies I actually think I might like the second one almost as much, if not just a little better than the first one, because you get that character of Leo Getz in the second movie, and that just adds to the character development. But that, to me, is what makes Lethal Weapon shine. Yes, the action is great, and I love the action in this movie. I've not even gone over, all the scenes like where they shoot him through that store window and think he's dead. Or that scene there where they shoot that guy and he drowns in the plastic in that pool, which actually, that shot right there, director Richard Donner, that's his house. Funny little fact there. But now there is an extended cut of this movie where there's more stuff going on. There's a scene where Riggs goes and picks up a prostitute, and they go back to his trailer and just watch the Three Stooges, which is kind of cool. There's some other things in there, some more stuff with Hunsaker. But to me, the version that got released to the theaters in 1987 is the best version of Lethal Weapon to watch. It's tightly packed. It's nicely paced. Like I said, great character development, great action. This is how you blend those two things together, and story, in just the one cohesive thing. So yeah, I can't praise Lethal Weapon enough. And if it sounds like I'm gushing more than reviewing, I probably am. This is just a fun movie. And I thought, if I'm going to review a movie for my 1-year anniversary, why not Lethal Weapon? It's so good. It's so much fun. So as I said earlier, thank you guys for 1 year of Drew Reviews on YouTube. I appreciate all you guys out there. If you are thinking of subscribing and haven't done it yet, and I want to, I'd appreciate that. I appreciate all of my viewers and subscribers out there. Coming up next, I've got Outland with Sean Connery coming. I've kind of been saving that one back. I really like that movie. I think it's very underrated and probably in need of a remake. So be looking for that, guys. And until next time, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.